Now, the story of the Queen of Sheba is given to us to record that Israel reached the ends of the then-known world with a witness for God. We've seen this before, but very hurriedly, let me lift out some of the high points that are here. When the Queen of Sheba heard, that's important, she heard of the fame of Solomon. She came to prove Solomon with hard questions at Jerusalem with a very great company, and camels that bear spices and gold in abundance and precious stones. And when she was come to Solomon, she communed with him of all that was in her heart. And Solomon told her all her questions, and there was nothing hid from Solomon which he told her not. In other words, this man Solomon told her of the secret of his kingdom, that God had given him wisdom. He'd built the temple. This was the approach to God. Now, will you notice verse 3? When the Queen of Sheba had seen the wisdom of Solomon and the house that he built. This is very interesting to note here. The very interesting thing about it is that back in 1 Kings 10:24, we're told, and all the earth sought to Solomon to hear his wisdom, which God had put in his heart. We are just given this one illustration of the Queen of Sheba that came. You see, the nation Israel was successful in witnessing to the world. And the meat of his table, the sitting of his servants, the attendance of his minister, and their apparel, his cupbearers also and their apparel. But here was the thing that was impressive. And his ascent, by which he went up into the house of the Lord, there was no more spirit in it. Now that ascent, it was the burnt offering. And that burnt offering speaks of Christ. And no nation had anything that would compare to an offering for sin. And this was the thing that was absolutely amazing to her, an offering that was pointing to Christ. David said so much about Christ, I don't think that Solomon left off talking about him. Now she said to the king, it was a true report which I heard in mine own land of thine acts, of thy wisdom. Howbeit, I believed not their words till I came, and mine eyes had seen it. And behold, the one half of the greatness of thy wisdom was not told me, for thou exceedest the fame that I heard. In other words, this woman said, when I heard about what God had done, why, I just didn't believe it. But she had faith enough that when she heard about the greatness of Solomon, she made a long, arduous trip. And believe me, it was a long, arduous trip in that day. She didn't go out to the airport and take a plane and was there in a couple of hours. It was a couple of months and probably longer across a hot, burning desert. And she came all the way in order that she might know something of the wisdom of this man and found out about his approach to God. And that was the thing that left no strength in her. And she had to say, I didn't believe it, but now I do believe.